have a pretty clear picture of what to expect in the next 2 days. And to really get things going, let's have on stage Samir Garde, President of Cisco India. Samir, on the stage, please.
Hello. Seems to be working. You know, I used to go to these conferences earlier, and there used to be what is called digital transformation as the topic, which seems to be the topic in a lot of conferences nowadays. There's probably a reason for it. But when I used to go to these conferences earlier, there used to be two statuses that people used to have, right? And I used to be worried about one status. One status was the person is awake during the conference, right? The other status was the person is asleep during the conference, which is why they go back and sit. Today, when we say digital transformation and embrace the world order, what I'm more worried about is which person is offline and which person is online. Everybody comes to these conferences, and one of the things that we end up seeing is people on their smartphones, right? And that really worries you as to whether they're really listening to you or not. But this is what digital transformation is all about. It's not about whether a person is awake or asleep. If the person is online, he's awake. If the person is offline on a WhatsApp for more than 15 minutes at 11 o'clock at night, you just assume that person has gone to sleep, right? You do that or not, right? Or your wife calls you up in the morning and says, after 11 o'clock, I did not see you on WhatsApp, right? What were you doing? But I think this embracing of the world order from a digital transformation point of view is real, right? If you were to look at the 63 million SMEs that are there in India, 6.5 crores. The global number of SMEs in India, in the world, are somewhere in the region of around 300, 350 million. India has close to 22% of those, right? We're always good at these things, right? 7 billion people in the world, 1.3 billion citizens. We're always around 20%, whether it is businesses or citizens, right? But imagine around 45% of them have some form of digital interaction. 45%. So around 3.5 crore enterprises in India have embraced digital. And it doesn't matter whether you're a small or a large customer. In fact, the size of the business really does not matter on whether you've embraced technology or not. But what I want to talk to you about a little bit more is, before I start, firstly, I didn't know Bindraji's first name. Today I learned Bindraji's first name. Okay. But Diego, Bindraji, the team at Ingram, and by the way, you have a really young team, I must say. Your head of sales looks like he's 25. Your head of marketing looks like he's 22. So I don't know where you're getting these people from, but it's good to see this. But thank you for this. Cisco India and SOC was the Theatre of the Year for FY19, and it wouldn't have been possible. It wouldn't have been possible without the help from all of you. So thank you very much, and that's one of the reasons that I wanted to come here today. We've just closed our year around a month and a half ago. And when I heard about this opportunity to come and meet 2,500 partners and potentially 5,000 people online who can help us become Theatre of the Year again, I said, absolutely. In fact, we just came back from the US. Raghu and I just came back from the US yesterday, and we are here to meet all of you today. And I think I love the fact that you have a digital format for this event, 33 cities, 2,500 partners. But thank you again, and I really, really give it from the bottom of my heart and from my entire team. Really appreciate it. Now, India is a massive, massive opportunity, and I don't know why this thing is not changing, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. I'll talk you through it. It's changed here, but it's not changed there. SN? Okay. See, India, whatever you hear about 5% growth on GDP, 8% growth on GDP, 7% growth on GDP, just ignore all those numbers. Okay? Don't bother about all those numbers. People have to write something. Today, there are more journalists on Twitter than there ever were, right? Somebody has to write something, right? And I was talking to some folks across the industry. This digital adoption is irreversible. India is approximately the 5th or the 7th largest economy in the world, depending on the quarter, right? And we'll remain in that top 5 or top 7 for the next 10 years. Don't worry about that. In fact, we will probably go and climb up much faster. It's the 3rd largest startup ecosystem in the world. We have 26,000 startups. 26,000 startups. After US and China, we are the 3rd largest. And in fact, now we have around 11 unicorns, startups with $1 billion plus valuations. Out of India, we have 11 of them. If you went back around 5 years ago, we had less than 2, right? So this digital transformation is real. The second thing and most important thing that I always see, and that's why I called out SN and Harish, more than 65%, 2/3 of India is less than 35 years of age. How many of you are less than 35 years of age? People are actually putting up their hands, yeah? Very good. Even those who are not less than 35 years of age. But if you have to survive, I'm 53, I'm not 35, I'm 53, right? If I have to survive in this day and age with these Gen Zs or Gen X or millennials or whatever, there is no way I will survive if I don't think like a 25-year-old. And that is an important message that we need to give to our teams. Internet population, 600 million. Government continues to spend. In fact, government is probably the only one which is spending right now on digitization. And like I said, 62 million, 63 million SMEs, right? SMBs. The opportunity is massive. So when you see headlines which say this company went bankrupt, that company went bankrupt, and GDP growth is 5%, and if inflation is 5%, then actual GDP growth is 0, and India is in recession. It's all bullshit. Okay? As far as digital transformation is concerned, there is phenomenal opportunity for this country to grow. Think about this. In the first 65 years, we became a 2 trillion economy. In the first 65 years of our existence, we became a 2 trillion economy. Okay? In the next 10 years, we are likely to become a $5 trillion economy. So you will add $3 trillion of GDP in 10 years, what you took probably 70 years to do. And that's what you're in the middle of. And out of that $5 trillion economy, approximately $1 trillion will be digital economy. And it will be driven by a lot of initiatives that the government is driving. Think about it, okay? GST is the largest digital tax platform in the world, right? Aadhaar is the largest identity stack in the world. 1.2 billion. I was telling our global CIO yesterday, 1.2 billion people have an identity. She says, what's the big deal? I said, each one of them have their iris scanned and their 10 fingerprints done on that. Oh, that makes it big. Think about it, right? All these are opportunities for all of us to do stuff which is unthinkable. And I'll talk a little bit about that. If you think about out of this $2 trillion, right now, a little less than 200 billion is digital. 10%. Out of 5 trillion, close to $1 trillion will be digital. And you'll wonder what is digital, right? The government of India will build a healthcare platform. You started looking at the insurance thing, right? Whatever the government is doing on the health insurance side. They're going to build a logistics platform. They built an identity platform. They built a tax platform. And like that, there will be multiple platforms which then eventually need to get integrated and start talking to each other, right? UPI is a payment platform. It's the largest payment platform in the world now, already. So you are in the midst of a digital transformation which is unthinkable 5 years ago. The other thing is, and this is going to be news, not big news for Microsoft, but software is going to eat the world for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay? And this is coming from a company which is very proud of its hardware legacy. Okay? It's a different matter that Microsoft is now selling devices, and Cisco is now selling more software, right? But this is going to be the reality. The largest valuation companies in the world today, as you probably know, the largest entertainment company is Netflix. It's a software company, right? The value chain control in the automobile industry is not going to be about how good your alloy wheels look. It's going to be about how beautiful my dashboard looks. And can I control it from my smartphone? Right? We all have to be proud about our legacy, and we are also proud of our legacy. But if you don't understand software in this new world, you can't succeed. More than 70% of the value addition in that $1 trillion economy is going to come from software. Most businesses are programmable now. Everything is programmable. Unthinkable things are programmable. Shoes are programmable, guys. Nike has a programmable shoe. Okay, you were talking about wearables. This is a shoe which sends information to the wearable and tells you whether this shoe is good for you or not, and how much are you running, etc., etc. Everything is programmable. New GTMs and business models. And this is really critical, guys, right? In this world, anything goes, right? Initially, people wanted to buy one shot, sell it, forget it, and then you come back after 5 years and sell it again, come back after 5 years and sell it again, right? That doesn't work anymore. The simplest new business model that emerged was subscription, right? The next simplest business model that emerged was revenue share between 3 or 4 parties coming together and adding value. So you have to start thinking about saying, I can't do this alone. People tend to believe that, I have everything with me. I can do this alone. I think the day you decide that it is okay to partner with others, that is the day when you will transform yourself as a company. We have a partner of ours who came to us and said, Samir, we want to get into public sector. Okay, I won't take the name of that partner. He said, we want to get into public sector. I said, Atul, you don't have the capability to do public sector. So he says, I'll build a team. I said, why do you want to build a team? Go join hands with someone who has capability in the public sector. Have a loose joint venture if that's what is required. Let him lead and you come with your capabilities. So think differently in this new day and age. You cannot do everything on your own. And that's the reason why collaboration and co-innovation is the way to go. How many of you read the news a month ago where it was very interesting, right? And I read this and I fell off my chair, right? Maruti Suzuki was closing down or not expanding one of their facilities in Ahmedabad or in Gujarat, right? And they said that is because there is a slowdown in the auto industry and so on and so forth. But Toyota had excess capacity in Bangalore. Now, Toyota and Suzuki are like Pepsi and Coke, right? It's like WebEx and Microsoft Teams, right? They never collaborate, right? I'm not saying we don't, but we do, right? They actually decided to come together and said, if Suzuki needs capacity, Toyota will provide that capacity. Can you think of this even 5 years ago? Our WebEx works with Skype. Because if it doesn't, people who have bought Skype or bought WebEx or have both will not be able to manage that. This co-innovation, this collaboration between potential competitors or what they call frenemies and all of those new things that you hear is real in this economy. So think differently, and I'm not here to preach, But I'm just trying to tell you that we are also looking at becoming more and more open in terms of how we expose our APIs for everything, to whether it is our competitors or whether it is our friends. The other thing is talent. That is probably going to be the biggest and the number one investment that you'll need to make in this digital economy. Because if you don't do that, and especially young talent, millennial talent, Gen Z talent. Now, there is a belief, and I'll give you this piece of information and you'll be surprised with this, right? The cheese industry will die in 10 years from now. And you'll wonder, what is the relationship? The cheese industry will die in 10 years from now, right? 60% of non-emerging market or developed market Gen Z people. Gen Z people are 25 to 30-year-olds, approximately. 60% are vegan or vegetarian. And vegan means they don't eat dairy products. Okay? You must be wondering why I'm telling you this. Because these are insights about these young people. They are changing industries. Now, if you think you want experience, and you will always recruit someone who's from the industry, who understands the market very well, understands hardware or software or services, you will continue to dig in the same place. Go hire these young people. There are some young people who have made businesses on Facebook. There are some young people who've made businesses on YouTube. They can teach us a few things, believe me. I have a reverse mentor. You know what is a reverse mentor? Someone who's the youngest person in the organization. He comes to mentor me every 2 months. He comes and tells me, what is he thinking? How is he thinking? That talent is going to be really critical. So that's a little bit about what is changing in this digital transformation era and what we need to do. Let me shift to a video to just share with you what Cisco is doing. And I don't know whether this will work or not in terms of audio.
Filled with serious geopolitical issues, tariff situation, the regulatory environment. These are all issues that companies in Silicon Valley have to care about. What's really changed in the world is the importance of technology. Our customers are navigating an environment that is much more complicated than they ever dreamed. Security has to be very dynamic, and it has to be in the network, and it has to be at the edge of the network.
2019 has been the year of Cisco. This company has gone through a major transition. Being a network hardware play, you've become kind of the infrastructure for the Internet of Things.
Cisco launched its intent-based networking platform, and now is taking that product to the next level with new innovations around AI, machine learning.
What we're trying to do, 5G, and how that's going to actually allow us to connect more and more people. And when you connect them, you can educate them. When you educate them, you can give them opportunity. The power of teams in today's world is real. Most people actually wake up every day and want to do good things. We've just found a way to unleash that desire.
The tech giant is actually on a mission.
Cisco wants to touch the lives of 1 billion people by 2025.
Cisco are really an example of the best of corporate America. They're visionary, they're at the forefront, not just of their own discipline and technology, but also of changing the world.
We do only 3 things, okay? We are Cisco. We build great infrastructure. We build great security products. We build great data center products, hardware and software, and we build great collaboration solutions. And that's what we are proud of, right? But that's changing drastically because customers and partners like you are telling us that you need to change. The other thing we are very, very proud of is our capability to impact the community, right? In India alone, we spend upwards of $30 to $35 million a year on CSR. We train anywhere between 1 million to 1.2 million people every 5 years on digital skills, right? We're very proud of this legacy. We are extremely proud of the fact that we do business and we grow very well, but we also contribute back to the society. And this is a very important part of our DNA. This is a really important part of our DNA, and personally something that I am extremely proud of. If you think about Akshay Patra, which is one of the people who do midday meals, they just clocked 1 billion meals in India. 1 billion meals to students in India over the last several years. We connected their kitchens with our network, and that saved them 30 paisa per meal, which means they can feed, over the next 10 years, another 1 million children. Just because they could save 30 paisa per meal. And that is a very important part of what we do in India. And this is part of our CSR. The other thing I want to tell you is that there is a historic change that's happening in Cisco, right? And I'll tell you why that's happening. I don't know how many of you read this article which came out around 5 or 6 years ago, which said, these are the 3 companies which are screwed by the cloud. They used a different word, which some of you might have read, but they said Dell, HP, Cisco will all get screwed by the cloud. We actually embraced the cloud, and actually our growth has been the highest since the AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud era started. Last year was our highest growth ever in 12 years. Somebody told us that you will never be able to reinvent the network, right? And we reinvented the network in a way which was unthinkable for us. When we went to investors and we told we are going to reinvent the network, then investors said, yeah, we'll see what you can do. Over the last 4 years, we've reinvented the network and made it completely software-defined, automation-led. 6, 7 years ago, we were a nobody in the security business, absolute nobody in the security business. Today, we are the largest security company in the world at $2.6 billion. These are the kind of historic changes in terms of business models, in terms of innovation that we are driving, and in terms of a culture which is of openness. You won't find the old Cisco culture of being arrogant. You won't find the old Cisco culture of saying you do it our way or no other way. We become a lot more open, we become a lot more transparent, we become a lot more authentic. There's a big change that is happening here. The other thing I want to tell you is that, I think we heard about some of these new things that are coming out in the world. 5G, cloud, cybersecurity, quantum computing. How many of you heard of quantum computing? Right? So there's like one person who put up his hand. Maybe 3, 4, 5. Quantum computing. Wi-Fi 6. I didn't even know there was a Wi-Fi 5, by the way. And there wasn't. There was really no Wi-Fi 5. Just because there was 5G, we said Wi-Fi 6. 400 gig speeds, guys. Can you imagine 400 gig speeds? Edge computing. I mean, I can't thump the table and say I understand all of these things. And most of us will also say, मेरे को सब समझ में आता है. But actually, a lot of us don't understand this. But imagine, the internet started, around 20, 22, 25 years ago, right? With all these developments, do you think the internet of the future will be the same? Cannot be, right? Can you imagine the kind of apps that will come out in 5 years from now once 5G is real, right? And stabilized. Can you imagine the kind of apps when you have 400 gig speeds, right? There will be new industries which will come up, which we can't even think of right now. We can't even think of those industries. We can't even think of what that internet will look like. Now, we pride ourselves in the legacy of having built the first internet. Who do you think will build the second internet? So our core of our strategy is that we will build the future internet of the world with the technologies that we have. There is nobody else in the industry who can do that. And the reason for that is simple, because all of these technologies eventually are going to impact the way you consume applications, the way you consume the internet, right? Can you imagine a 1 gig speed on your mobile phone? What will happen? It will take you 1 minute to download a Netflix movie. 1 minute. Right? Sometimes it keeps moving in circles, nothing happens, even on 4G. They promised us a lot in 4G also, by the way. So our simple strategy is we will build the future internet. We will put all of these technologies which are enablers to build the future of the internet. So if you think of internet and you think of the future of the internet, think of Cisco. You are the people who bring Cisco's strategy to life. You will bring this future internet to life. 95% of our business happens through partners. Keep wondering where that 5% goes. But 95% of our business happens through partners, right? In fact, if I go back 10 years, 60% of our business used to happen with partners. So we are committed to this partner ecosystem. We're completely committed to this partner ecosystem. Like I said, 94% bookings through partners. We're building new kinds of partners. 20% of our India revenue came through new types of partners, ISVs, people who we didn't do business with 5 years ago. Right? 20% of our business came through there. 51% of our partners are on a recurring business model, are selling subscription services. This number was a little less than 10% 4 years ago. More than half of our partners today are selling subscription services. We help our partners in terms of black belt certification on all the new skills that are required. And in terms of the number of COEs or centers of excellence that we have in India, now it's gone up to around 20. So if you have an idea where you want to build a specific kind of technology for a specific industry that you have capability in or have an aspiration for, do let us know. We'll be very, very keen to look at what we can do together. But I think what we want to make sure that everybody understands is that we don't lose our legacy. Our legacy continues to be hardware. Our legacy will continue to be hardware. We're extremely proud of it. We will transform with software, right? So we want our partners to look at how they can perform and transform. I know I'm a little over time, but give me 1 minute, okay? So we want all our partners to perform and transform. And I'll tell you what that really means. This is what it means. A little complicated, but it's an important thing to understand. You know, customers today are people who buy technology are no longer just the IT folks. So what you see on the y-axis is IT versus business. When you say LOB, that's basically business, right? When business buys, they don't buy like IT. They like buying for outcomes, right? And then when IT buys in today's world, they buy because there are options available, and they say, whichever is the lowest price, best technology, T1, L1, let's buy. So they choose to buy. Versus using that technology as a core part of their strategy, right? Now this box is where the Cisco portfolio is all about perform, which is selling to IT and selling the traditional way. Everything else is about transformation. There'll be new people that you need to go after. You'll need to go after a technology-enabled, platform-based, outcome-based sale, which is very different. I have partners who come to me and tell me, Samir, there is a customer who's saying, can we sell this in a way where it is linked to their customer's purchase? And it's becoming more and more important. And I'm also so happy that so many of you are not online right now. And then customer experience is the only differentiator now, right? At the end of the day, that's what matters. And people choose to be with a particular brand because they get great experience, right? In fact, I watch cricket now more on Hotstar than on television, because if it rains, Hotstar works. Tata Sky doesn't, right? Have you noticed that? Right? Hotstar ka koi problem nahi hota hai. But Tata Sky stops working when it starts raining, right? So customer experience is the big differentiator. And finally, we will enable you with a lot of things. I'm not going to go through every one of these things, but we can give you whatever training you want. Like I said, we are very keen to look at ideas coming from you from a center of excellence point of view. We are also very happy to partner with Ingram's consulting team and our business consulting team and figure out ways in which we can help you to transform. And we made those investments already with a few partners. We're very happy to make that investment. And we have online ways in which you can take self-paced ways of learning and transform. That's all I had. Thank you very much. And Really appreciate your help through last year and last several years, and continue to expect your support going forward. Thank you very much.